Hey guys, and welcome back to the penultimate part of Rodea, the Sky Soldier. We're still in the past. The chapter names are all funky like the Hyperdimensional Fortress, which is like some of the hyper shit I've ever heard. And we're making our way to, what was that metal fuck's name? Who's the leader of this? Ragtag.
Giardo.
There we go, Giardo. What? We know what he looks like.
I know, I don't know why they decided to hide his face, because he showed it earlier. It's just like, really?
Like, this should be the point where he, like, shows himself, or where we actually get up to the fucker.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's just like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have him be a mystery and then reveal him. Also, considering they showed his face right at the start of the game, when he announced his invasion of Garuda...
Oh, yeah!
Just like, we know what he looks like.
I mean, it was all hologrammy, and you couldn't really discern all that much, but it was definitely there. I'm guessing we have to find stuff to put in the green slots?
No, we just go through the hyperdimensional portal.
Oh, so it's just an aesthetic touch then. It looked like, you know, slots you could put gems or crystals in.
Yeah. And if you're wondering what I was doing there, I was just like, oh, I wonder if there's a legacy medal on top. No.
Don't come with me, Ion, it's too cool for you. Whoa.
And, I love this song. I think it's called The Face Reality.
I'm struggling right now, honestly. I don't know what's real and what's not.
Well, we've gone into a different dimension, and now we need to escape it. And it's just glorious, really.
That's like one of your top 10 favourite words, isn't it, mate?
Well, of course. It's a glorious word.
Glorious, wonderful, of course. They're all there. So, any specific, like, set pieces we should be having a shufty for?
Yes. Well, I mean, we're going to be introduced to our final new enemy at some point during this video. Which I'm going to do my best to avoid for the most part. And also, we are going to be doing a lot of speeding through certain locations. There's our new enemy. It's got lots and lots of spikes.
Ugh, the worst.
Best way to defeat them is using the gun. Seeing as I, don't have a gun, I'm just going to completely ignore these guys.
Okay.
Because you can get away with just ignoring them.
Why did they even bother appearing then?
Because I think they want you to try and fight them and to fail miserably.
Also, they're just trying to impede your, like, progress going up the tower, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know, it's funny you said they're going to do a lot more, like, speeding, just watch Rodea fly kind of sections, because they're clearly going all out on, like, visual and aesthetic level design at this point.
Oh, definitely. But, I mean, Rodea's going to go pretty gosh darn quickly. It might not be this chapter, but it's certainly going to be in the next one.
I see what you mean about the music, by the way, how it's more, like, melodical and whatnot.
Yeah, I just think it works wonderfully as a final level track, because it's got that mixture of epicness, but there's a tinge of sadness, and it's wonderfully complex.
So you like melancholy tracks, is what you're trying to say?
In certain situations, yes. I mean, if it's a Melina's theme, then hell yeah. That type of melancholy works wonderfully. In certain other titles, a bit of melancholy is misplaced. I can't think of any examples right now, but they certainly exist.
Well, when they were developing Twilight Princess, and I think this is a Miyamoto quote, it may be like someone else, so I apologise if I'm falsely attributing this. They were talking about how Twilight Princess is the richest of the Zelda games, the most melancholy.
Yeah, so that's fitting.
So that's the distinction between Majora's Mask and, Twilight Princess. Majora's Mask is dark and sorrowful, but with a lot of, like, hope lying under the surface, whereas Twilight Princess isn't really that deep, but it is kind of melancholy.
Yeah.
And that's not me trying to shit on Twilight Princess, by the way. Like, stuff with Midna, it pays off. It pays off big time, but...
oh god, yeah.
If you want to talk about, like, proper adult themes and such, then Majora's Mask will probably always be the most adult and/or dark Zelda game.
Yes, but then I think at certain times you want different things.
Yeah, definitely.
So sometimes you want that slightly more dark tone to explore themes. Sometimes a softer but still more melancholy tone works much better. And in the case of what they are going for with Midna and the Twilight Realm, that works better, I feel.
If there was never another Zelda game on the same level of, like, you know, seriousness and darkness as Majora's Mask, I'd be fine. You know, I'd take it as it comes, really.
Well, yeah. I mean, I will always be more of a fan of a light-hearted game. It's why I quite like things like this, where it's light-hearted cheese, because that just makes me happy.
Yeah, fair enough, mate, fair enough. I like feel-good stuff as well. And it doesn't just go for Zelda. Like, each game should be tailored to the proper tone and feel that the developer wants. And don't try and, like, go for, like, a joke during the middle of a serious scene. It just doesn't work.
Well, it doesn't work if you're not a good writer. You can sometimes pull it off. I think the Uncharted series sometimes does an excellent job at landing the odd joke at moments where the tension's quite high, but that's just because of the type of character Nathan Drake is.
Well, no, that's not exactly what I meant. It's like trying to go for, like, yucks during a somber scene, like when someone's dying and whatnot.
Yeah.
Hint, Rodea. And, like, the Uncharted series is, like, all swashbuckling and adventurous.
Yes, I mean, that series gets it right in terms of its humour matching its tone.
Uh-huh.
I think something like the Sonic series has always struggled in matching tone. Like, I think Sonic Unleashed got it very spot on. I think Black Knight got it very spot on.
Yep.
But then you get to Colours and Generations, and they struggle a bit with getting the emotional tone right.
No, I disagree there. I think Colours got it exactly right, because it was a light-hearted game with an adventurous bent to it, and it achieved that. You know, the ending was taken, you know, fairly seriously. If you want to talk about a game that doesn't really know what kind of tone it wants, look at Lost World.
Well, Lost World is easily the worst example of it. Definitely.
I mean, Helldragon and I did like a whole HellfireCast, which is a now defunct podcast since I got kind of bored of it and it wasn't really going anywhere, on like tone and like feel. So I recommend checking that out if you're interested. This sort of thing, like when it comes to examining stuff, always appeals to me because it lets you get underneath the skin of any particular piece of media.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's pretty much the exact reason why I went into doing an English literature degree. Because it's this sort of exploration of themes and concepts, and it allows you to understand something in much greater detail than you would have done otherwise.
Same goes for people, honestly. Like, you have to understand how your friends feel if you are to be a good friend yourself.
Exactly. Now, moving back to the game more, I hate this section with a burning passion.
Oh, okay, now we're getting onto the negative side of things.
It's one of the two worst moments in the game for me.
Okay.
So, you've got to get through these force fields. Once again, damn force fields. But you've only got a very short time frame in which to do it. You want to just naturally fly through, but the game, like, you don't have enough time necessarily to do that smoothly. So, like, I struggled so much with this section because it's just like the time frame to get through is so minimal. So what I end up doing is standing and waiting on the platform where the thing is moving to stand a chance of getting through smoothly, and it's just not quite as fun as it wants to be.
I see you left this part out while we were talking about what set pieces are going to be in the level earlier.
Yeah, it's probably one of the deadliest set pieces in the game. But yeah, I'm not a fan of that section. It's definitely my least favourite bit of the entire last stretch of levels.
Just gotta take care of these badniks and then we can head into the exit.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got another chapter of very similar stuff.
If it goes as fast as you say it does, we'll be at the exit in no time.
I mean, it probably wasn't, because I was thinking of those rail boosting sections that we've been through in this chapter.
Oh man, your memory is so fuddled.
Well, can you blame me? These two levels are basically identical.
Fair enough, mate, fair enough.
In terms of... So they've got the same visual design, they've got the same song, they've got the same sorts of puzzles and stuff going on in them. They just blend.
Alright, what's up next?
Well, the chapter's over.
Oh. Sorry, I thought I was going to lead into something else there.
No, so basically we're going to go into the next chapter, which is a continuation of this. Which is fair enough, but it does sort of bring up one of the things that I discussed at least a few times in my solo comm of Rodea.
Uh-huh.
And that's that the pacing of some of these chapters always feels a little bit off. Like, the points at which they finish the chapter aren't always most fitting.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, a prime example is the saving Ion sequence. So, you get to the top of that volcano near the village, then the chapter ends, for no apparent reason.
Oh god, I forgot we hadn't taken out Edgelord yet.
Yeah, we've still got a bit of time before we have to take out Edgelord. But, yeah, so then you get to going to save Ion, you get to rescue her, but then she gets kidnapped again, but then just as you're about to think, oh, we're going to go into a fight, they end the chapter.
Yeah.
So you start the next chapter with the boss fight against Rylus. And then it gets a bit odd because then you've got the rest of the level, and then it's not quite... It doesn't flow as neatly as it should.
Now, is this the same exact theme, or does it have, like, an added beat to it?
I think this is the same exact theme.
Because, like, if a chapter title is giving me a command like, fly, you know, to the Emperor's throne, you should at least up the tempo of the level's music to make it that much more exciting.
Well, considering this song only gets used, you know, twice, I think they kind of took it as it's this entire section that they're trying to make epic with this song.
Fine, I guess. Oh, more force field fun.
Yep. And, oh, this thing at the end is just so mean.
Jesus Christ, you think that's enough shield bots?
Yep, they are everywhere around this. The only way that you're going to get through is to get around them to get to the gun.
Nice.
And make use of that to try and forge a way through. Thank God that thing fully healed you, otherwise that would have just been awful.
Oh, definitely. There's nothing more shameful than dying to shielded enemies.
I mean, it's still a pain because it's very difficult to get a lock inside them. But thankfully, once you've defeated at least a few, you can just leap into the thing in the middle and escape.
I know there's, like, already the visor slash, whatchamacallit, gauntlet thingamabob,
Yes.
to, you know, to multi-target enemies, but I'm surprised the gun doesn't have a function like that.
I mean, that would have probably been quite helpful. Also, what would have been helpful would have been, you know, being able to get to the end of the bonus, like the legacy medals in the bonus rooms at standard Rodea health.
Yeah.
Because if I'd just gone a little bit further and gotten the power wink, I could have gotten through there. But as it was, I went in too soon because I got hit, and I was just like, oh, for...
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, for Pete's sake.
Well, you're near the end of the game, mate. Cut yourself some slack here.
It was just like, you know what, sod it, as long as I get through, you know, the final boss, alright, I'll be good.
Let's go.
We'll talk about the final boss when we get to the final boss.
I still can't get over the fact that they reshadowed his face.
Yeah. Just... I don't even know.
Eugene Naka must have been out driving one of his many Ferraris one of those days. On that particular day.
Probably, yes.
Ion, look, I don't bring up embarrassing stuff about you, right? So don't do it to me.
Well, considering Rodea probably doesn't really know any embarrassing stories about Ion, he's not really got the chance to do that.
Haha, you look like the princess I was, like, ordained to protect. But she's not alive anymore. Take that, Ion. Oh, now I'm sad.
Also, the game's attempting to try and be slightly funny at this moment in time and not being hugely successful. Because it's just like, popped Rodea out like a radish.
What? That sounds like something that makes more sense than the original Japanese.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, it's a good job I don't come to this sort of game for humour, you know? That's pretty sick. You're using a combination of not Chain Chomp along with these enemies and the sticks.
Mm-hmm. And what's quite fun is that obviously they set up you being able to do that in previous levels, so then you know exactly what you're doing to progress. It just can be slightly easy to shoot them in the wrong direction, and then you end up doing what I did and just going off into the ether.
Well, that's what I love about, like, properly made final levels. Like, properly made final levels will test you on everything. Like, everything that you've learned throughout the game. And the ones that aren't properly made that might have a little bit of that, but are mostly, like, not really sort of thought out well. They just throw a lot of enemies at you and call it a day.
Yeah, those are always pretty bad. Also, this is the slight puzzle that I was talking about
Oh, yeah.
the last time we came across these things. So the way that you get through this is making sure that you target all 6 of the targets, obviously, but you've got to make sure that you go 3 in a line and then down the other 3. If you try and do like the 2s, or do a 2, then go down and then go back, you're not going to have enough time to get through.
I'm reminded of, like, another, like, flying sort of enemy or, like, character in a video game who would, like, I would target something and they would twirl around it sometimes, but for the life of me, I can't remember what it is. Don't bother trying to plumb the depths of my mind. You're going to be very unsuccessful.
Yes, I think I will be.
I mean, there was one instance when Helldragon and I were covering RE Chain of Memories when I shot, like, a fire spell or whatever, and it just circled around one of the Shadow Hunters because they were, like, in the ground at the time. That was pretty funny.
I remember seeing that. That was hilarious.
How did you find that playthrough?
I really quite enjoyed it.
Be honest now.
No, I did really quite enjoy it. I think
Okay.
RE Chain of Memories is probably a slightly duller game than most of the other Kingdom Hearts titles, but it was nice to see, because I've actually never watched or seen the entirety of Chain of Memories before, so it was nice to actually get that bit of plot of Kingdom Hearts that I've never had before.
Yeah. Right, what are we doing here, mate?
We are trying to get through the force field, obviously.
Well, yeah, I can see that, but do we have to put in all the blocks this time?
No, it's just the same as the last one. Make sure that one of the blocks is there. Obviously, somehow, the positioning of the block that's there at the minute decided it wasn't going to play ball.
Nah, mate, you solved it too fast.
Yeah, so it was just like, right, I would maybe try and wait, but then this one then decided to be in the right position, so I just thought, right, I'm just going to get through it now.
Well, you got through in the end, man, that's what counts. That's a snazzy looking teleporter thing.
Indeed it is, and you may think, oh, we're going to be at the end of this particular chapter. No, we may be getting out of this bit of the alternate dimension, but we're going to have to go straight back in before we can finish the chapter. Because we've got a bit more to go.
Bit more plots, as it were?
No, just a bit more platforming.
That's good as well, I guess.
Basically, all of the plot that's left is going to be in the final part of the game.
As I would expect.
Basically, when all the battles take place.
Sweet as, mate.
The one thing that I don't get with this is that, so we get up to this level, and then we go straight back into the alternate dimension. It's just like, why did we need to do that?
Hey, no, we had to go up higher, that's the rule.
But yeah, we've got a bit of a gauntlet in here before we can continue.
Oh, is it just going to throw all the... Yeah, it's throwing all the different types of enemies at us, isn't it?
It's not going to throw every single type.
Well, a lot of them, then.
But it's going to throw at least a few.
Lazy.
At least it's actually going to make us have to fight the Spiky McSpikesters.
Awesome name. But also, you know what would be cooler? If they resurrected the bosses, had them combined into one super cool mech, and then we could fight that before we fight Gyardo.
That would be quite cool, yes.
My, like, gaming dreams never really seem to take budget into account.
Well, maybe one day it'll happen.
One day.
I mean, potentially quite a few of my gaming dreams might come true with Scalebound, I'll have to see.
I mean, you know, it's got dinosaurs, it's made by Platinum.
Dragons!
Dante's in there.
Dragons!
Well, they look like dinosaurs, okay? Cut me some slack.
They're dragons, and
Fine.
they're glorious.
Okay, Platinum fanboy.
Well, probably more specifically Hideki Kamiya fanboy, but... Either way, this is a particularly funny bonus room. Just watch what happens.
Oh. What? Did you clip so hard you basically broke time?
So I think what happened there is that because the platform was lifting me up as it was slightly making Rodea jump off the ground a little bit. And because obviously it was catching up to him, it didn't know what to do with Rodea.
Didn't even know what the fuck.
So it just sort of glitched out. I remember doing that the first time. I was just like, what the hell is happening? So I just thought I'd try and replicate it in this particular playthrough, and I managed it, and I'm quite happy because that was hilarious. But here we go, this is the end of the chapter. The end of the game is in sight.
Oh, I'm excited.
It might slightly disappoint you, but we'll see what happens.
Way to hype up the final part of a playthrough, Rishi.
I like Rodea, but even I can't make a big deal about what's to come.
Alright, let's see some stats. Just I mean, it was fantastical, but whatever, right? We'll see you next time for the final part of Rodea the Sky Soldier.